program really helped me because like at first I was struggling, but then as Roger Suggs joined me in the group, you know, it really changed my like perspective. Cause like I found a job working for Walmart, and then since then my success had built it. So like right now, feeling confident, like I can like go up a mile step higher, and hopefully continue to succeed, and you know just keep beating out the odds.
Encourage the young men here and also some young ladies here. It's just all about giving back, because many opportunities can kind of just fly over somebody's head if they're not aware of their resources. And that, I guess that's what we were talking about earlier in the conversation, that, you know, utilize your resources.
Yeah, I'm just learning how to use my resources and then count on the people that I got around me to help me do better in life, you know? That's what I'm doing.
I really think it's a good thing because in 2011 there's been a lot of killing already, and we're only in May. So I think it's good for this organization to be here, Fringe Benefits.
I see some new faces, which means Roger has been out there in the community, and that's an awesome thing. Some of you have no idea what Fringe Benefits of Education is, right? Or just slightly. And so what I wanted to share with you is a little bit about what it is. I am Dr. McDowell. I'm the Dean of Enrollment Management and Registrar here at the college. With that, I'm also the Program Administrator for Fringe Benefits of Education, and Roger is our Outreach Liaison. This program is designed to work with young men 17 to 24. As always, we have some young women who also come to the program because sometimes they come with their boyfriends, their cousins, their brothers, and support them through the process. And then some come as mentees as well. So you will see a few young women around. The reason why we focus primarily on young men is because if we open this up to young people 17 to 24, we would have more women in the room than men. How do we know that? Here at this college, 60% of the students that go here are women. Primarily women with an average age of 30. How do we know that the young men aren't participating? Well, if we go to any of our high schools, we find out that our young men are graduating at a lower rate than our young women. If we go to many of our churches, we'll find that most of them are primarily filled with women. When we talk to folks about why should this program be targeted in the population group that includes you, what they shared with us is in this age group, 17 to 24, that they are building prisons with cell blocks with your names on them. And they do that based on your 3rd grade reading level. They predict that if you cannot read at grade level or above by 3rd grade, you are destining yourself to be on track to be in prison. That wasn't a good thing when we thought about what do we want our young men to do. When we have young women who are going to college, they want young men who are also going to college, because we're talking about how do we sustain ourselves and our communities. And you want a good job. And you want a good job, and many of us in this room need you to have a good job, because if we're going to retire, it's based on the generations that come after us. You all need your brothers and sisters and younger cousins to go to school and get a good job. Because if you ever plan on retiring, you need them to be working and not just at minimum wage. So this program was designed with you in mind. It was built to help you get community level support. It was built to help you connect to this college so that you know that if you are in high school, college is within your reach. Tonight, we're talking about you having a mentor and a life coach, and you rebuilding your swag. A few Thursdays ago, because I had made contact with one of the people hiring at Live Strong, the new soccer stadium, I had all the applicants that night fill out an application for employment. I faxed it to the lady and said, I have these participants in my program and they're looking for summer jobs. She called the people based on the applications that met her requirements, and several of them were employed. The young woman I was just talking to shared with me she's been trying to get into contact with her, and the young lady right behind you was one of the folks that she called who will be working there. So it really does work. And what we tried to do that night is have you fill out the application, make sure it was legible, make sure we faxed it in, and when you went there, make sure your swag was on point. That you went with your shirt tucked in. If all you have is a t-shirt, great, but tuck it in. If all you have is your hair is braided, make sure it's pulled back and it's presentable. If all you have is shorts or tennis shoes, it's usually not a problem if you present yourself properly. When they ask you, what is your name? Do you make eye contact? Do you shake their hand? Are you able to articulate what you want and how you can be a benefit to them? So we try to make sure that when you go to those interviews, you're ready and that you present yourself in a manner that positions you to compete. So that's what Fringe Benefits is all about. We have a good time, but really being real. If you're doing things that's out of line, we try to ask you to do that as well. But we do it in a private way. So on that first Thursday, we're out here. But on those follow-up Thursdays when we're in the room, it's just those people who are participants. And you have an opportunity to bring your concerns and bring your issues to the table. And just like my friend here, when she said, I usually see you walking around campus. I was going to ask you a question. Well, that's the beauty of you being in the program. You have an opportunity to come to the Admissions and Records Office and say, I'm in the Fringe Benefits of Education program, and I need to see Dr. McDowell. All of my staff knows that when you say that, that's like the key to the kingdom. They come back and get me, you let me know that one of you are there, and I come up and I will assist you. I'm going to invite Roger up again just for a few moments, and then we're going to have our blessing over the food. And I wanted you all to know, if you have an opportunity, we're working on a neat brochure for Fringe Benefits of Education that will be premiered this summer that talks about the program. If you want to see what it's all about, I believe it's on the back table there if you want to know a little bit more about what FBOE is about. Thank you. Roger.
All right, real quick, just good to see the students here, because that's what we serve as the students more than anything else. And take it serious, like I told you guys that Dr. McDowell has opened up some doors. And when she says about when you see her in the hallway, you get in there, you get that pass, you do get that pass. Other students have to wait, talk to the secretary, and line up whenever she feels that she can meet with them. So you have to take advantage of your resources. And what's happening is we're not taking advantage of our resources. Then we wonder why we ain't got a job, we got your hookups. Take, basically from street term, take your hookup seriously. Somebody hooking you up, you got to bank on it. If not, somebody else going to take the hookup. You know what I'm saying? We know what hookup is. We go to the barbershop, they come in with something cheap. You buy it cheap or you pay $100 for it. And like, there's so many hookups and resources in here. You know, like you said, you got Jeremiah is here. You got a barber in the back. You got a videographer, 2 of them in the back. You know, you got a mentor that for housing. You have so many things in here. You got a retired guy that like LeBron James, but we ain't gonna hold that against him. You know what I'm saying? You got to work at the post office, a mentor. You know, Meyer, she can mentor some young ladies. So it's all kinds of resources around me. And I'm glad the Turners in the house representing. It's just about taking advantage of it, like she said, and position. Her main thing, if you notice what she said, was to position you to compete. If you're in position, then you got a chance to make it. But if you don't ever know that door's open, how you gonna know to be, you know, to compete against something? So it's about being serious. And by you showing up and showing, when other people leave, let them leave. It's about you trying to make the money and get the education for yourself. So, because the person that's leaving, they're gonna be standing on the sideline while you're out here working and doing things for your, to better your future. See, you can tell. Sometimes you gotta look at your circle and see what they're doing. And you're trying to do something right, and but when you're doing something wrong, they already around you all the time. That should be your first indicator that they ain't trying to see you come up. Because if you're trying to come up, you gotta focus. You have to focus. And if they don't want to be around, they think it's too cool, they think somebody gonna give them a job, they don't keep thinking, and they find themselves on the sidelines. Well, I'm glad that y'all stay here and be focused because y'all want to do something better with y'all.
Okay. So. Our speaker for tonight is John Stafford II. He is the Director of Choral Music here at Kansas City, Kansas Community College. The reason we invite people with a wide array of expertise is because many of you and some of you claim you can sing. I know Roger professed to be an artist at it, and I know his friend here, Alan, thinks he's pretty good as well. However, there is a way to master your craft. There is a story behind every person. And our speaker tonight has a bachelor's degree in music business. He also has a master's degree in composition from Bowling Green State University. Right, so as he's speaking, kind of take notes. We teach you to take notes and ask a few questions, because some of you might want to know where that is as you're preparing to go to college. And I will come back after he speaks and ask you a few questions. All right, John.
How's everybody doing?
Well,
good. All right. Dr. McDowell, correct? Dr. McDowell asked me to talk to you guys about just my background and how I came about teaching here. And pretty much my background is quite simple. It's quite simple, but it's quite diverse as well. So in terms of my background in music, when I was younger, my parents, what they did was, they had me in church all the time. And so I was raised, in terms of my musical background, I was raised in church. I was 4 years old singing in gospel choir, like a lot of people. And then just throughout my schooling, all the way from like middle school, all the way through college, I just kept on singing, And when I was a kid, I didn't realize I had a career in music. And so about around high school, my senior year, I learned how to read music. I couldn't read music until I was 17 years old. And so when most people learn how to read music, when they go into it, like if you know somebody that plays piano or something like that, they usually start much earlier, like anywhere between 4 and 10 years old. And I didn't really get into it until I was about 17. So my story is that the first thing I really learned how to do was to sing from a young age, and that's how I developed my ear and everything. And then after that, what happened was my senior year of high school, I took a music theory class. If you don't know what music theory is, it's a class that teaches you how to read music. So I started studying classical and jazz music, just how to read and write it when I was about 17 years old. And then I was fortunate enough to be able to go to college just based on that. And so what I wanted to do when I was 17 years old, I was a big Quincy Jones fan. Anybody like Quincy Jones? I was a big Quincy Jones fan, and so what I wanted to do was I wanted to learn how to work in a recording studio, and I wanted to learn how to write jazz and pop music and all that stuff. So that's what I wanted to do. So I went to a school close by, about 2 hours from my home. I'm from Illinois, so I went to a school called Millikan. They gave me a large scholarship because of my academic background. I have a pretty decent academic background, and I ended up going on a scholarship to Millikan, which is a small liberal arts school in central Illinois. So what I studied was music business. So I studied that major, it's music industry studies, which means you were a music major and a business minor. So I kind of had a backup if the music thing didn't work out, so that's why I got that business minor. And so I learned about how to promote myself, how to work in the music industry. I learned a little bit about recording studio work, and I also learned how to write music. I took lessons on writing music. I took lessons on composing music, both classical and jazz, for years, in college for 4 years. But I also took voice lessons, because that's my main instrument. I play a little bit piano, but I'm mostly a vocalist. So So I spent 4 years just studying writing and learning how to sing differently. Not only the way I sung when I was younger, but I learned like a new way of singing. So I even studied like opera singing, I studied jazz singing in school, and I studied all different types of singing. And when I studied the classical and jazz music, when I did those things, those techniques I learned, I was able to apply it to if I ever did any pop singing, or if I ever did any gospel, or if I ever did any blues. All those styles are quite different. There's some similarities, but they're quite different. And so from then on, when I was done with college, I decided I wasn't ready for a job yet. I wasn't really mature enough to go out into the real world just yet. I just wasn't ready yet. So I decided to apply to graduate school, and I was fortunate to go to Bowling Green State University. It's in Ohio, Northwest Ohio, by Toledo. So I went out there for about 2.5 years. I got a master's degree in music composition. For that degree, I learned how to write for all genres of music. I learned how to write for orchestra, jazz band, you name it, I was writing it. And so from then on, around that time period, I learned how to promote myself as well. I learned how to put together my own website. I learned how to promote my music, not only just write all those kinds of music, but promote myself as well. I was entering competitions. I'm writing music, both classical and jazz. And so from then on, after Bowling Green, I did a variety of things. After then, I ended up being a substitute teacher, for a year in Chicago. I had a job in North Chicago working as a substitute teacher. That's how I got into teaching. After that, I've had a variety of jobs working part-time at colleges and teaching music in college. Not only teaching jazz vocals, but I also taught mostly writing, mostly how to orchestrate music, how to compose all different types of music. I help students I've taught classes on songwriting. I taught classes on how to write for orchestra. I taught classes about how to write for vocals as well. And so I did that for about 6 years at 3 different colleges. And then now, this is my first year here, director as choral music. So that's kind of a little bit on my background in terms of music, but I think what made my life so successful within the field of music is that I embrace every type of music. I know a lot of people that just like hip hop, or they just like country, or they just like rock, and they just like one style. And if you go into a career in music, you have to learn all those different styles, and you have to be able to embrace all those different styles, because they all bring something to the table. And especially if you become a music educator like myself, I was fortunate enough to embrace all those different styles, and I bring that background into my classroom now. Since I'm in a situation where I have to educate people about how to sing, I figured they need to know how to do it correctly, So if you do blues, you gotta do it a certain way. You just can't do it any old way that you hear on the radio all the time or whatever. So there's a certain way you gotta do everything. So I just try to expose my students to everything. Not only just Beethoven and Mozart, but I try to expose them how to sing blues music correctly, and how that applies to pop and jazz and R&B and all those other genres as well. And I try to do a lot of folk music too, like folk music for example, from Ireland, or even one of my choirs is doing Russian music, actually, just teaching them how to sing in that style. That's a totally different style than what a lot of people are used to. So that's just kind of my general musical background. And I think it's very helpful towards me, and what I try to do is just encourage my students just to embrace everything. If they're in an educational setting, really just try to embrace it, whether you like it at that time or not. If you go into a career, this particular career, just keep an open mind about things, because you never know where you're going to land. I said at the beginning of my speech that I wanted to be the next Quincy Jones. I wanted to write jazz music and be in the studio all the time and meet all these famous artists. And I'm not doing that at all. I don't do anything with recording studio. I did get a degree in composing music, but it was mostly classical with some jazz background, And right now I'm in an educational setting. When I was 17, 18, 19 years old, I never thought I would be here. I never thought I'd be teaching college, I just never thought I'd be an educator. I was trying to be famous. But it just so happens I had a situation along my journey where I had a chance to teach, and I took the opportunity, and I ended up falling in love with it, you know? And this was after college. This is after I was done with all my education. This was after all this stuff. And so, so now I'm here, and I love it, and I plan to be here for a long time, as long as they'll keep me, right there. So, as long as they'll keep me. So, I plan to be here for a while, and I really enjoy where I'm at. So all I'm saying to you is that anything in life's path, if you get a chance to be educated in something, don't just turn it off because it's different than what you're used to. Really embrace that difference instead of shying away from it, because you never know what kind of job will open up for you. And the reason why I say that is because if you have a class, or if you're in a situation where you learn something different than what you're used to, and if you embrace that, hopefully that class or that particular situation, even a job situation, will give you the skill set to go on and take other opportunities, whether they come to you or not. For example, I wanted to go out and get an education, and I wanted to get a master's degree. Right now I'm halfway through my doctorate at University of Illinois, and I plan to finish that in 2 years. And because of my drive, I'm able to do that. And nobody's going to give me a degree. Nobody's going to give me a job. Nobody's going to give me the skill set needed to do the things I want to do. You have to go out and just get it yourself. If you don't believe, if you want to just sit back and let things come to you, life doesn't really work that way. That's the biggest thing I can tell you. I just think you have to go out and get stuff yourself and figure out how to do it. So for example, if you want to learn how to be an accountant, you have to figure out, okay, what classes do I need to be an accountant? What skill sets do I need? What technology I need to know? Where are the good jobs? So you have to be able to go out and find that stuff in yourself. A lot of you guys are lucky today, because even 20 years ago, that stuff wasn't even on the internet. Internet really wasn't around 20, 25 years ago. So since you have the internet and everything, a lot of things are on the internet now, you can go and research all that stuff. So it's just important to have this sense of work ethic, you know? If you just sit back and not do anything, nobody's going to give you nothing, because that's not what employers want. Employers want people that have drive. They want people that go out and are able to do things on their own, and they want people that are qualified, meaning that you have the skills to be able to go out and get the job. Or in my case, for example, I had to go out to high schools and recruit. They expect me to do that here. I just can't sit in my office all day and not do anything. I have to go out and make things happen. If I want my program to prosper, I have to put the work in to make it prosper. The more work you put in, the more you'll get out. The more you'll get out of that work. I listen to a lot of music. And for those people that want to be musicians, that's the best thing you can do, by the way. This little tangent is listen to as much music as possible. The more music you listen to, the better your vocabulary is to make music, to create music. Those of you that like to make beats and stuff, if you only listen to one type of music, that's the only beat you're going to be making, because that's all that's in your musical vocabulary. Does that make sense? So that's all in your musical vocabulary. But if you listen to different types of stuff, you'll be able to build that vocabulary. And in terms of my own journey, well, now I'm a published composer. I have choral music, so I have 2 pieces published. I've had music performed in about 5 countries that I've written. I do arranging and actual composing. The difference is if you arrange something, it's already something that's pre-written, you're just rewriting it to make it different. And composing, you're just writing it from scratch. I have a background where I could teach students how to songwrite and help them with lyrics and everything. Even though I don't do much lyric work, but I can at least help them organize lyrics. So, and in terms of that, in terms of professional singing, I've sung in professional choirs, as well as write for professional ensembles as well. And so I just been in a situation where I had all these different opportunities, you know, and that's kind of my journey, really. And that journey just came about different ways, you know. For example, my senior year at college, I had an opportunity to write a choir piece for a choir in the Dominican Republic. And I went down and worked with that choir and we performed it when I was a senior in college, you know. And so like I said, that's an opportunity that came about, and I just saw that opportunity and I took advantage of it. So I think that's really important. I'll tell you my story about getting this job. This is my first year here. In terms of getting a job, You know what I did? You know, I just talked about websites. I found out about this job on a website that wasn't even a job website. It was since I'm a choral director, there's this website called Choralnet that choral directors around the world use. It's a big website. And so I go on this website every now and then to find out new information about choir music, you know, because that's what I do. And so they had a classified page. I looked on the classified page just randomly, and I saw a posting about this job that was open, and this was about a year ago. This is about not this February, but the February before. And so that same day, I sent in my resume, I wrote a cover letter, sent it in, and so I applied to the job, and then they pretty much called me, said I had an interview, and I came out in the interview. What they wanted me to do was I had to teach a class. I had to teach a vocal ensemble. Those of you that go to hear KCK, I direct a vocal jazz ensemble. So I taught the vocal jazz ensemble last year just in my interview, just randomly. And I had to teach them a piece of music in like 10 minutes. I had to teach them a piece of music, and then I had to fix whatever, they sang a piece of music they already knew, and I had to fix it on the spot. You know, I had to fix it and make it better in like 10 minutes. And then after that, it was this panel of 6 people, the 3 music faculty, a non-music faculty member, the dean at the time, the dean of the humanities at the time, was changed now, and a human resource person. So it was a panel of 6 people, and they just fired questions at me for like over an hour. So it was kind of like a firing squad. And I ended up getting a job. And I was the last interview person. That was on a Friday. It was the Friday after Easter. The next Tuesday, I was hired. And the reason why I say all that is because for me to get this job, I had to have a certain skill set. I had to be a strong enough musician to hear whatever they sang to me and be able to fix it. I had to be a strong enough musician to be able to take a piece of music and teach it to them very, very quickly. I had to be able to engage students right away. That's the reason why I got this job, because of my ability to do that, you know? So let's do this. Let's do this. We're gonna compose on the spot. We're gonna write music on the spot, okay? So, all right. You want us to sing in unison with me? You sing? Yeah, so like just sing in unison with me. Let's just do Amazing Grace, and we're gonna compose it. We're gonna add new harmony to it right on the spot, okay? Since I have 3 people. This is good. 4th person would help. 1, 2, 3, 4, and Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Yeah, so then Amazing Grace, Amazing Grace, how sweet. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1. Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Yeah. So then another part could be, let's see. I'll add another part. So I'll add another. Do the same thing you've been doing. I'll add another part. I'll sing a part below you. So here we go. A 1, 2, 3, 1, and Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. So I don't know. That's just making something up on the spot. Thank you.
I'd like to make sure that our speaker understands that you all heard what they say. So I always have an opportunity at the end to ask who would like to tell us what you're going to take away. What did you hear the speaker say?
To strive of what I need to, because I'm a volleyball player here, and my strive is to go to a Division I school. So like you said, you have to work at it. I work out every day. I do stuff that I really don't want to do, like run 2 miles a day.
About being a go-getter, you gotta participate in what you don't want to do in order to get what you want.
Yeah, if you see the opportunity, you have to go get it. Nobody's gonna give you nothing. That's the biggest thing. Nobody gives you nothing. I've been in situations where I sat back. I haven't been successful in everything I've done. And I've been in situations where thank you. I've been in situations where I just sat back and let things pass me by. And then I realized I just have to go get them. You know, and whenever I was a go-getter, I was much more successful. So So keep that in mind. So if you want to be a rap, you like your own stuff, there's nothing wrong with that, but you have to like put your stuff out there and can't quit.
I want to go to the Navy, so I guess I just gotta try harder.
You want to go to the Navy?
Yeah.
Okay, and so that means you have to try harder. Beautiful. All right. Yes.
All right, the same thing too. Cause like I'm like playing football, and this is my last year. I'm gonna like practice. Like I ain't gonna take nothing for granted and stuff. I'm gonna work hard at everything I do.
So I think you have an idea that they heard what you said, and I think that's important because sometimes we can look out and we're wondering, are they listening?
Yeah.
And do they hear me? And I think what we often hear when we do that exchange is that they heard you.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to also just say thank you. I know you responded to my 11th hour call, and I appreciate it.
It's not a problem.
And I want to give you this certificate of appreciation for being an outstanding guest speaker in appreciation of John Stafford II for sharing your words of wisdom and making them relevant to our experiences.
Thank you.
And we have this One of the things that we like to do is to ask each one of our presenters, they heard a lot of things. If you wanted them to take one thing away, no matter what else they remembered tonight, what would you want them to take away?
Two things. You have to go out and get what you want, and you have to work hard. You just can't sit on the couch. You just can't sit at home and just expect things to happen for you. You know? People have to know who you are. If you want to be successful, you can't be afraid to let people know who you are, and you just have to go out and make yourself known to people. Be able to network. That's something else I could have said earlier. Just the ability to just network with people, because if you network with the right people, the opportunities will open up for you, and then that gives you a chance to grab those opportunities as well. So that's what I would say. So.
Now, one of the things we often talk about, or we take for granted, that students understand what we mean when we say work hard. When you say work ethic, when you say that, if you were going to define that or give them something they would understand, what do you mean by work hard?
It's a few things. You could make multiple subtopics. You make subtopics about that. The main thing about working hard is that you have to be able to do research, meaning looking on the internet, or it depends on your field. So in my field in music, I have to first of all become a good musician, so just studying my craft and then being able to network what I do and let people know about what I do. Also just being able to find out if I was looking for a particular job, how to go about getting that particular job in that field as well. So learning the craft, learning how to deal with people and network, and learning the qualifications to get a job, and so you can be successful on that job. And just having basic job skills is a real plus as well. It works in my field too. So having good oral and written communication skills, just having basic job work ethic, if you know that those things, that will be really helpful as well. But really knowing the craft and being able to network too, those are two big things I would say. So
awesome. Well, I thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And I look forward to you networking with these young men.
Sure.
And them knowing that you'll deliver on the promise and that they can count on you. That's
Absolutely.
one of the things some of them miss in their lives sometimes. People, they can count on.
Sure.
But I thank you so much.
No problem. So thank you. So my pleasure.
All right. I look forward to talking to you.
Yeah. So my pleasure.
All righty. Wonderful.